thank you for sitting down with me, Ryan. How do you feel after coming off of your high from yesterday of receiving your award?
Well, I feel great, and thank you for having me. Thanks for asking me to do this. I'm obviously delighted to be here, and always delighted to have a conversation with you, Benton. Receiving the award yesterday was a great honor, and I was very tired yesterday, as everyone probably knew. I drove overnight. Ended up being like a 36-hour day. It was really long. So today I'm still kind of recovering. I slept a good amount last night, but I've just been thinking a lot more on Samuel Trout, and what a honor that it is to receive an award in his name. Mm-hmm. He's just such a inspiration, and the more I kind of learn about him and think about him, the more I realize how, he really wasn't dissimilar from many of the student leaders we have today, and including my own time as a student leader. Life can change very quickly, so it's important never to take it for granted.
Yeah, it was. I remember when Sam was murdered, but I hadn't gone to the Newman Center yet. I hadn't ever stepped foot in the doors, but I remember being a student when it happened, and it was, I think, just a very somber time for friends of mine who were Catholic and who knew him, and I still know a lot of people that were roommates with him, were his friends, and so it kind of feels like I did know him in a certain sense, but we never met. But at least I don't think we ever met. Maybe we walked past each other one day, but I just never knew.
Sure, you were students at the same time?
Yeah.
Or you were a student just after he graduated?
Well, I guess I don't know. I know I was about like a sophomore when it happened, I think.
Okay.
I'd have to look back. But yeah, so congrats on that.
Thank you.
I wanted to have this conversation because we've had many conversations over the time that I've been here. You've been here longer than I have. But we've had a lot of conversations about music and liturgy and spirituality, and I have just a few little questions, like Socrates would say, but they're not meant to trap you. So don't worry. Good. Don't worry. It's not like Socrates.
Well, Socrates was just pursuing the truth. So
exactly. So it's not. Yeah, I fully support Socratic dialogue, but my first one is. So you had a conversion experience when you first came to the Newman Center and came to the university, right? And I was wondering, how was the sacred liturgy part of that work of the Holy Spirit in your life?
Sure. So, just so everyone knows, I was raised Catholic and grew up Catholic, and I was practicing Catholic with my family at home. But I had a pretty profound reversion and deepening of my faith when I came to college. For me, the reversion sort of started and was bolstered by good friendships. And it was really good friendships with really amazing men and women who were already practicing their faith to a much deeper, more intimate level, and it was a very big part of their life already. And so they knew much more, and they were much better formed than I was, and I thought that was inspiring. So I desired to take part in that same way that they were, because I saw the goodness that brought, not only to their life, but to the people around them. So, I mean, in terms of liturgy, just coming here to Fargo was a pretty substantial change from being in Minnesota in the Crookston Diocese. So coming to the Fargo Diocese, there were some liturgical changes, some things like kneeling after the Agnus Dei and for communion, kneeling during that. There's several other like just kind of smaller differences. The music was much different from my home parish. And I, eventually I joined the choir at the Newman my freshman year, which is before you came.
Yeah.
The year before you came.
Yes.
And I had a really
before Benton. No.
Before Benton. I had a really blessed experience with that and learning more of these beautiful music pieces that would supplement and sort of beautify the liturgy, the Mass, and stuff like that. So also new to me was daily Mass, adoration. I never experienced adoration before. And so accompanying adoration is, various chants, O Salutaris Hostia, the Tantum Ergo, things that I've never heard before coming here. So these little things kind of just added up to they aided my conversion and kind of furnishing my mental landscape of like Catholic culture, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I would say as my Catholic culture was very bare. Maybe you think of a white room and no decorations. And now it's being furnished with very ornate, beautiful, oak furniture, and beautiful paintings and things like that. So
yeah, it's kind of a privilege that we have in a larger city with a parish that has more resources to like put forth those things, sometimes a little fancier, even though of course just even the simplest chants can be very beautiful done in a small place. So it sounds like you had great Christian friendships, and those mediated Christ to you and brought you closer to this experience of God in the liturgy as well, and getting more involved in the community. Do you remember your first experience with Gregorian chant? Do you remember maybe what chant it was even?
I don't think I would know which chant. Do you mean like me singing or just listening to it? Maybe
listening, or I think I'd like to know both. Maybe which one you learned to sing first.
I think the first time I heard like legitimate Gregorian chant was probably my freshman year after would you consider like Tantum Ergo, O Salutaris Hostia to be Gregorian? Maybe the Salve Regina.
Yeah, the Salve Regina definitely.
So the Salve after Mass.
Yes, the Salve Regina after Mass would be your one.
Would be the first, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'd never had that before in my home diocese or my home parish, I should say. But probably getting more beyond that, I had a great friend who's now a seminarian for the Archdiocese of St. Paul. And he was so much more formed, and he knew all these different music. He had like this Catholic music playlist, and he shared it with me. And there was a whole bunch of Gregorian chant in it. And so listening to that, I heard a lot, and he just really liked it. So that gave me this idea in my mind that, oh yes, Gregorian chant is good.
Nice. Did you find it? Did you immediately like it, or did it take maybe a little bit?
I think it took a little bit.
To kind of like it.
It took a little bit for my mind to really recognize the beauty that's there. However, my first long extended period of listening to it would have again been freshman year, but it would have been in the spring semester when Exodus 90 started. So if you don't know, Exodus 90, one of the disciplines is only listening to music that uplifts the soul to God. And that could mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. For me, that meant Christian, basically like what would be considered praise and worship music today, or just like devotional praise music, and Gregorian chant, and some other sacred polyphonics, stuff like that. Well, I listened to the devotional praise music for like 1 week straight, and I was actually so sick of it by the end of that.
So you're talking about praise and worship, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So devotional praise music is kind of my personal, Benton's TM trademarked name for that.
Yes.
But you're saying, yeah,
I think it's a more apt name for it.
I have my reasons for that. But yeah, so you listened to that for like a week.
Yeah, I was listening to that for the first week of Exodus 90, and by the end of it, I kind of just had this. It was just felt blah to me. Like it was just almost like it was the same over and over and over again. And all of the different songs kind of blended together. And it got old. I mean, it got sick. Sounds bad to say. Like it got kind of sickening in a way.
Maybe you just needed a longer playlist.
Well, I mean, it was, all kinds of different music. But
yeah.
Then I switched more into Gregorian chant, and like at first definitely was not on fire about it. But I noticed something interesting in listening to that. As I kept listening to it, all these different Gregorian chants, I never got sick of it. To me, listening to that all the time, it never got old. It never got sickening. Like it was ever new to my ears. And I think part of it is just because I didn't understand it. I had never really sung it, at least not seriously. And it was so unique, something that I'd never really heard before. And I just thought it was beautiful. So pretty much for all of Exodus 90, that's what I listened to. And I think that was very crucial in forming my desire and my musical taste to recognize that beauty in that music.
So it took over kind of exposure over time to form your aesthetic sense of this sacred, this holy quality in this music.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you describe a little bit more about the style of Gregorian chant and how it shapes your spirituality?
Sure.
Through maybe your spiritual life. What about it? What about it has shaped your spirituality? What about it has shaped your prayer, both through singing it and also through listening to it?
Yeah, well, I mean, Gregorian chant is different from a lot of the music I had listened to, and different from a lot of just modern music in general. And it's very like unison, as opposed to the harmony that you usually hear, or even the disharmony that you hear in some music. And there's some kind of quality to singing everyone in unison, doing the same note, the same vowel, the same consonant, whatever sound it is that they're making. That I found very interesting, and I didn't fully get that through listening to music on Spotify or listening through YouTube or something like that. I think there's some quality there that you really only get in person. And I kind of got that a little bit here, but there wasn't much my freshman year. And after you came, there was a little bit more. But my sophomore year, for Christmas break, I went and visited an abbey, a Benedictine abbey down in Oklahoma. It's called Our Lady of Clear Creek Abbey. And they are a monastic community that does Gregorian chant everything, the divine office or the monastic office and the liturgies. It's all Gregorian chanted. But that was a unique experience because that was the first time that I got to experience in person like 60 plus voices, all in perfect unison, in chanting these sacred psalms or these sacred introits, these sacred prayers that we have, that the church has given them to us in her bounty. And there was some quality there that is not replicable in online or listening to it through earphones or whatever it is. When you have so many people, it's kind of like Father Spitzer talks about beauty in one of his books, and one of the aspects of beauty is he calls harmonious resonance, which is this concept of, it's kind of a fancy word, but it's this concept that if you play a note A, we'll call it, and note B, at the same time, like if you just play them by themselves, they only play that particular note. But if you play them at the same time, you learn something new. You learn something about what these notes do in the presence of another note. And so that's sort of in that new effect that comes about when they're done in the presence of each other is unique. Because you could have note C come in and then note C could go with note B, and that might make a completely different sound. And note C might go with note A, and that might be, so it's a very unique thing. But when they are together, there's some added effect. And I think that's kind of what I have experienced with Gregorian chant, especially at a monastery where there's a whole community of monks singing together in unison, Gregorian chant. It's not just like the same as one person doing it or 10 people doing it. If you have 60 of them and even just one of them is gone, something is different in that sound. But it's a very beautiful sound once you experience it. So now on to the other part of the question of like, how does that shape me? Can you repeat that part again?
So I was wondering about what about Gregorian chant forms your spirituality? What about it? Is there a specific thing about it that shapes your contemplation or how you pray? Maybe you could think about, what is the prayer experience of singing the Mass in the Schola for a feast day, which we've done many times together, versus maybe a silent Mass or a Mass that doesn't have singing, or a Mass where you aren't in the Schola.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I always really enjoy singing the different Mass parts as well as the variable parts, the introit, the offertory, the communion, antiphon. For those who aren't familiar with that, like those are very ancient historical prayers for each Mass that are typically were chanted, and now in kind of the Reformed liturgy, they're not always, and like that's okay, that's allowed, but if you historically that's what was prayed before the introit or the introductory prayers. That's there. The offertory, that's still there as well, and the communion antiphon or chant is also there, but usually they're not chanted today. But yeah, singing that, chanting that, the way that the church says today is the way that it is supposed to be done, I've always enjoyed doing that, because to me, when I'm singing it, I'm praying it. And St. Augustine says those who sing well pray twice.
Yes.
And so these prayers that you're singing you're actually like praying them twice when you're singing them.
It's more work. I don't know. Sometimes I'll be rehearsing with everybody, and it's like, oh, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Which I thank
Totally.
everybody for giving of their time to put forth that extra work to pray twice or three times or four times maybe.
Right. And I think it is more work, but when it's done well, then you pray twice, and it's that much more efficacious, not only to you but also to everyone in the pews. It's not just about your experience as well. It's everyone who's there can be edified by that beautiful chant. Spiritually, I think chant, the unity of it and the flowiness of it, as I've learned more about chant, and I'm not at all an expert or
you've
even studied
had a
in
great
it,
teacher. So.
I've had the worst teacher.
He's so difficult.
But the organic nature of chant, it just seems like it's the natural, most fitting way to sing these prayers. The unity of it, of voices together in one, kind of is an image of God, the Father, all encompassing, all knowing, who is all in all. It brings all into one. And so I really like that aspect of it. But yeah, the flowiness of it, it's very organic and natural. And to me, when something is naturally fitting, you kind of get more into that harmonious resonance aspect of beauty when, or the first part of beauty is when something is perfected in its form. And so as, say, music grows closer and closer to its perfected form, I think it's more and more naturally fitting to the liturgy. And so the chant done in this way, it just seems very organic that these prayers would be sung that way, very flowy, and it requires so much like of the person who's singing, the cantor. It requires so much of them to really understand and feel the chant that is being sung to really sing it well. I was speaking with Father Bachman, OSB. He's one of the monks down at Our Lady of Clear Creek Abbey. And I was just there for Holy Week. So we were talking about chanting the Passion narratives. And so historically, he's like always done it for them for many, many years.
Which part does he sing?
The narrator. He always sang the narrator. And he's like supposedly so good. I've never heard him do that personally, but from the others there, I heard that. And I was asking him afterward why he wasn't doing it, because he always had done it, is what I've heard. And he said, well, you got to let other people come in and take over eventually. But then he started talking about like the differences between this new guy who was doing it and him. And he made a really important point that I think is really important about chant. He said that this new guy, his chant is technically perfect. Like technique-wise, it's perfect. It's exactly the way that it should be. Following the timing and the dynamics and all that stuff. The speeds, like slowing down, speeding up. But he said there's some aspect there that's missing that he thinks this young guy doesn't have yet. And it's like the spirit of the liturgy is not quite there. And like it takes time, to develop that. But when you live the liturgy day in, day out, and that's your whole life, like it is for these monks, they're chanting all like,
They chant
all
every day
throughout
for
the
hours,
day,
yeah.
many hours a day. Matins, lauds is all chanted, prime, tersex, known, vespers, compline, all of the hours, as well as the mass, is all chanted. But when you live that lifestyle for longer, it's like you gain this kind of a culture, this culture of chant or sacred music. And this culture is added to your chant, and it's kind of hard to learn that.
Somewhat indefinable, probably.
Yeah,
but
I think it
as
is.
you're talking, I'm thinking of the offertory Ave Maria, which is the offertory for a lot of the Marian feasts throughout the year. But I think we have sung it together like maybe 3 times. Like it's modate. I think it's something like that. It's Immaculate Conception, and I think the Assumption as well, and Annunciation maybe, though I don't think you were here for Annunciation. But I've been able to do that one several times here over the liturgical years, and every time I say to myself, "Oh, it's this one again." So it's hopefully it gets better.
Yeah.
Every time. I don't know, or hopefully I get better at teaching it. But yeah. So what about liturgical music and other sacred styles? For example, polyphony with choir or organ music. How has that come into your life and impacted your spirituality and your faith?
It definitely has been accompanying Gregorian chant since the time I did Exodus 90 the first time, because that also felt like it never really got old. I really enjoyed listening to that, to Sacred Polyphony, for example, organ music as well. Really, really enjoy listening to that. When it comes to the Mass or the liturgies, for me, it's nice, like it's beautiful to have, especially for something like a meditation piece. But for the Mass parts or for prayers that, everyone is meant to be able to follow along with and join in, then I would prefer it to be more Gregorian style.
Me too.
But
me too. But
so it's easier.
Yeah.
Because when
I do love a polyphonic communion proper, though.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's gorgeous.
On Sunday we sang Sicut Cervus, and it was just, I loved it. Of course, it's all about what I like.
But when you have like a Agnus Dei that lasts 8 minutes and it's like rounds and it's overlapping parts like you can't, it's hard to follow along with that.
Yeah. But other stuff like a communion motet or something.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed that. And I think it really helps me to enter into the mystery of the reception of Holy Communion. Like the beauty of that type of music, these harmonies, definitely helps to enter into the meditation and into even contemplation of God, the mystery that we have just received within us. So I really do like having that. When it comes to outside of the liturgy, I think it's also like wonderful and good for any time, really. Much better than some of the modern music that I think is so common in today's culture, and it's just beautiful. I mean, organ, absolutely love the organ. Don't get to hear it very often. Oh. Not a legit organ.
I'll just have to like put that on my wall because a lot of people don't really love organ music. It seems like
it's so good.
But I do. So I'm glad you do.
I've loved going and just listening to people practice the organ, even though because they might be practicing the same part over and over and over and over
Mm-hmm.
again. To me, it just doesn't get old. I just love listening
That's
to
good.
these various parts, even if they're like sloppy or not, like it's not perfect, they're messing up. I would sit there and pray with that in the background for hours just because I love listening to that beautiful music. And I think it can help the liturgy as well, the organ, and especially for these pieces that you really do want all the congregation to sing along with. It is certainly easier to find the note when the organ
hopefully helps unify
Yes.
the pitch and the rhythm.
Yes. The organ really pierces through and is easy to match to for everyone. That's one of the ways which the monks at Clear Creek enhance the liturgy on these great feast days, these solemn feast days. They will add the organ in when they're chanting the psalms.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like, you kind of hear a little bit of harmony in there,
Yeah.
and it just, everything is unified even more so. So in that way, it actually accentuates the chant, like Gregorian chant.
And helps everybody not go flat.
Yeah, everyone.
But I think what's it's been nice here doing, this will be a good segue into our next thing, but it's been nice here with chanting the Psalms in liturgy is it doesn't seem to go flat that much. At least I haven't noticed it, and overall, we seem to really hold pitch as a community normally, which is good, because that is not, I think, usual.
What is usual?
I think it's usual. It seems like it'll be like, Dixi Dominus Domino meo, sede adexis meis, done economy costius, and then it just kind of goes down and down.
Keeps going down.
And then, but, we haven't had that problem. But maybe you could talk about the liturgy of the hours and how singing it here in community has impacted maybe your community experience and your friendships, but also your spirituality with other people.
Mm-hmm, for sure. So when I was a student, which I just graduated in December, just a few months ago, I was involved with the men's hall, the Cardinal men's hall, and every night we led night prayer, Compline, together for the whole community, which, I mean, some days there might be 2 people there, but more commonly there was probably anywhere from 6 to 14. I mean, sometimes there's like 20 people there.
Oh, wow. That's good to hear.
Just like,
I'm not here at 9 p.m. So not
Yeah.
often.
but a lot of it's Newman living, the community, because the chapel is so close. It's convenient to go and pray the hours. Now, I had been doing that when I was here in previous years, but we would just recite night prayer, and it wouldn't be chanted. However, I think this school year that we started making the booklets for it.
Yeah, I think it was in the fall semester we began.
Yeah, because I was very interested in chanting it. The previous year, so my junior year, I was leading it most of the time as well, and trying to chant it according to like the proper ways put forth by the like Christian prayer, trying to follow those tones. And there was just it wasn't standard. No one else knew how to do it. So there was a lot of naysayers.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to chant that when it's just not specifically set out in your resource.
If it's not laid out for you, some people have a much harder time following along.
Mm-hmm. I do.
So much to the point that they wouldn't even go, even if it's very simple. Or even if I think it's very simple, some people might not think it's very simple. But like there's, sometimes I would even just chant like recto tono, just one note, and even that was like,
Recto tono is weird, I think. I think it's strange. I do it occasionally. I sometimes will chant matins recto tono at my adoration hour during the night or something. But
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of, it feels strange to do. But
It's a bit eerie, isn't it?
it is a little eerie, yeah. It feels strange to do, but it's kind of, it is nice to at least have that. But
yeah.
but to actually do tones that are somewhat related to Gregorian modes and stuff.
To do more stuff that's somewhat more proper and relating to the meaning behind the psalms, the antiphons, incorporating more singing, more chanting into night prayer was something I wanted to do. But I just didn't have the support to do that until I asked you about it. And then you created these little booklets so that we could follow along these various chants at night prayer. And that made a huge difference because now people were coming and they were able to follow along much more easily.
Much easier, yeah.
And I really do feel like when you just have a group of people that, I mean, it's very monastic in a way. You have a group of people that get together at the same time every day in the night before going to bed, and you pray night prayer together as a community. When you sing it together, you're totally much more unified in your prayer than as if you just recited it, because it's like it draws you in when it's chanted, when it's sung. So I've really liked having it chanted, and I think it brought myself and my brothers in the Cardinal Men's Hall, as well as those from the community who come to join, it brought us closer to each other in that shared experience of liturgy.
Oh, that's good to hear.
We could also then talk about it more, on other occasions, trying to learn how to do it better and trying to improve the liturgy, because we knew that this is the way that it, is meant to be prayed. We had an understanding that it's not a matter of, do we want to do this? It's a matter of, we're going to do this, so how are we going to do it better? How are we going to make it as best as it can be and how it deserves to be done? How are we going to give it that reverence to the liturgy that it is owed?
Yeah, I mean, it is hard work. It is hard work, but yeah, the liturgy, the sacred liturgy, is a work, and it's the work of God on behalf of His people, as my teacher Jared Osterman would say. But it's not him saying that. He didn't make that up. It's
Vatican II.
It's from the Greek, the Liturgy, the work of God on behalf of His people. Usually, some people mistakenly talk about it as like liturgy is the work of the people, and it's not. That's not quite the right understanding of it. But yeah, that kind of communal spirituality sounds really cool. I have trouble praying Compline by myself, to be honest.
Yeah,
I just do, but
it's a communal.
Yeah, it really does. I love praying louds together.
I mean, there's a responsory
with the staff in the morning. Yeah.
There's a responsory in it. It's like
you
pray it.
For
you
to
can pray
do
it
all
by yourself, but it seems a bit unnatural to be praying it alone because it's designed to be prayed in community.
Yeah.
But all priests are required to pray it, so they pray it and they say both parts of the responsory themselves.
I do that. I do that when I pray matins or office of readings by myself, but I definitely prefer other people to be there. So, well, thanks for sitting down with me and revisiting some of these topics that we've talked about in the past, but for a different format.
For sure.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's always a joy to, I think I said this at the start, it's always a joy to have a conversation with you.
You love to talk. I love to talk. So, yeah. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.